the International Partnerships in Business Schools Conference is the outcome of close collaboration between the ESCP Europe, London, the DAD, German Academic Exchange Service, and the Institut Français du Royaume-Uni. It is the first conference entirely focusing on business schools, and it highlights the central position now occupied by your schools in the global context where competition in knowledge, innovation and skills are the key factors for a dynamic and competitive economy. It's clear that business schools are today training leading players in business management, and I do not need to remind you that all societies are today sustained not only by the international exchanges of goods and services, but also by the movement of people, and that these flows are increasing exponentially. I hope that this conference will be a very productive one and will contribute in a positive way to the birth of new ideas and clearly the development of new partnerships between British universities and schools, French and German structures. Thank you all.
I'm really happy to co-organize this event with our German colleagues and the École Supérieure de Commerce here in London, in Finchley Road. Actually, we had a number of seminars last year about Franco-British academic partnerships, all subjects, all disciplines, in law, in French studies and some others. And those seminars will be published at the end of June by the Liverpool University Press. So this seminar about business school is one more seminar about another field of cooperation between UK and France and Germany regarding this one in particular.
Students are really keen on studying abroad and going abroad to have new experiences, and that the job market now requires international profiles. So we are trying to have more and more international partnerships.
In today's world of globalization and mobility, a global and integrated university system is priceless. Between France and Germany, there is already a wide range of double diplomas in different fields which have proven the benefits of this kind of education. And I'm very pleased that this initiative may lay the foundation for trilateral diplomas. Fortunately, studying in another European country and studying with your fellow Europeans is becoming more and more usual. Speaking several languages, being mobile, and able to embrace different cultures is indeed a vital qualification for an international business career. I wish us a fruitful discussion and a successful conference with a lot of practical impact. Thank you.
We've really started to witness the extraordinarily rapid globalization of higher education. Student mobility is on the increase. We're heading towards 7 million students working outside their home country by 2025. Research collaboration is inherently a global business these days. This market for the best faculty is globalized. So it's a really important issue in higher education. So I think this conference has come at an excellent time to debate that, how you achieve it, what are the pitfalls, what are the concerns around ensuring we do create students who are properly global citizens and ensure we foster research collaboration in an inherently quite competitive environment, certainly within business schools.
There's a huge demand from German universities to set up more partnerships with British universities, not only in business studies, but especially in business studies.
This is kind of management problem. There is no true answer, there is no truth, you know. So we have to find the best practices for the different situations, because the countries are different, population, participants to the programs, students, you know, are different, and we have to find how it can fit between the best practices we know, how we have identified and we exchange here, and the characteristic or the constraints of schools and the education system we are in.
We know that the labour market of tomorrow will be dramatically different from today, with a very clear trend towards an increasing demand from employers and graduates alike for knowledge-intensive and skills-intensive jobs, particularly management and professional jobs. Graduates with international experience are highly employable as they demonstrate that they have the resilience and intercultural sensitivities to deal with an increasingly global business environment. As all our countries focus on becoming knowledge and skills-based economy in order to secure our future economic sustainability, the role of our universities and our business schools in promoting the research and development activities that's required to achieve those ends become much more central and vital to all our national economic long-term securities and also our collective economic future. The diverse mixture of students from across the globe is one of the many richnesses of our universities. I certainly wish you all the best in your discussions today and in future collaborations, and certainly at Universities UK, we are ready and willing to do anything we can to support you in these endeavours. Thank you very much.
It's not easy to implement an international partnership. It's not easy to set up contacts with other organizations. So this is why we need this type of conference, because I think it's important that we do meet and discuss all the issues that we encounter when we try to set up international partnerships within business schools.
Many other universities in the UK and also in France share many of the goals concerning internationalization with us. For us, internationalization is at the core of our strategy.
I think the key thing that's coming out of it, exchanges, sharing, it needs to be mutual. It's not just about importing students for their tuition fees. It's about making sure that you're sending your own students out as well as attracting them in, making sure that collaborations happen organically. So it's been a really good day, actually.
The reason why I believe that business schools should have multi-location campuses and international programs is to reflect the way businesses function today. Businesses clearly need to be completely global, and they need graduates who understand the international profile and the international situation.
Mutually, we're finding some very nice tools for making this possible. For example, double degree programs or study visits or even integrated joint programs that are designed by the faculty members of different international schools around the world.
Discuss, assess and demonstrate the advantages of the benefits of academic partnerships, of university collaboration, of mobilities in both directions. And for this reason, we decided to think about a conference, and it was it's simply fabulous that we've got the opportunity to do this together with our French partners, who are very experienced in university collaboration as well, who work very closely, French universities, with German universities. And what we would like to see as a result of the conference is to encourage more trilateral collaboration between our three countries.
I like to say, and I like to believe, that we are kind of pioneer as far as the international development of business schools is concerned. Nevertheless, we know that we represent one particular type of model as far as international development is concerned, and there are many other business schools we can learn from because they also have their own model. So it's quite interesting in this context, and considering the importance of providing an international exposure to our students, to our faculty, to all our staff, we need to learn from each other. Each of us who have an experience, we can gain a lot by discussing together, and that's why I really consider that this conference is most important.
Fostering exchanges in international business education is hugely important for the individuals, but also for companies. They need talent which has been globally educated, which can think on an international level, and which can operate in many different environments. And as we see with increasing globalization, I think this tendency in terms of the rising demand for globally educated and globally competent managers will increase even further in the years to come. And that's why I think fostering cooperation between business schools, as this seminar tries to achieve, is a very crucial and important point to make.
Well, I think it's interesting to use ESCP as a kind of interesting case study, because we are, with these 5 campuses, a kind of cross-cultural entity. Here I try to describe what I call the value chain of a business school. And to try to see how we can integrate cross-cultural issues in this value chain. First of all, you have to know that we start with research, bringing new ideas, developing new concepts and tools to meet the demand and to try to contribute to the economic development in general and to help businesses to be more efficient in their activity. All these new ideas, those new concepts and tools will be integrated in academic programs. That's the second part of the value chain. We teach that the opportunity indeed to transfer to the students all these new ideas through the programs which have been designed. And the very end of the process indeed is to contribute to the employability of our students who are going to be recruited by companies. If our students have a high level of employability, it's for the reason I have mentioned, that they are very well prepared to work in a very complex multicultural world, and also because all of them speak at least 3 languages, and most of them speaks more than 3 languages. Thank you very much.
I'm going to start by giving a very brief overview of AMBER in the context of internationalisation. I recognise many of the institutions here who are AMBER accredited, and of course our colleagues from ESCP are also not only AMBER accredited, but are one of the elite in the world holding triple accreditation. Part of our accreditation criteria is that we do not allow more than 10% of one nationality represented. And therefore, as you heard today, there are 17 perhaps on one MBA course, up to sometimes 42 different nationalities on an MBA course. I'm just going to give an overview of some of the types of international partnerships that we see working effectively. The areas I'm not going to go into in depth would be the political and regulatory environments that sometimes are the barriers to these partnerships.
I will try to analyze some of the consequences of the internationalization process and the partnership development. We need exchange of professors. We need research cooperation for faculty and PhD students, because in the long term, if you want to develop cooperation, it's based on the cooperation between the faculty members and also between PhD students, because generally they stay longer than the other students in the school. We need larger cooperation. We need a kind of network of programs, students, professors, managers of a school, in order to become really international. We are still developing, this partnership, even if we have already 40 dual degrees and about 80 partners abroad. It means new needs are happening, new demand is coming, and we have still to be innovative in the choice, the management, the kind of development we do with our different partners around the world. But remember that still in our policy, the campuses are central, and that we have the feeling that our policy is probably the best one. It's a complex system to manage, but we have tremendous asset with this dual partnerships policy, in fact, the internal partnership policy in Europe, and the more classical, development of strategic partnerships outside Western Europe.
What we do in partnerships, as with everything else in internationalization, is driven by what we're trying to achieve. And I think one of the crucial things is not every business school is the same, and therefore you need to work out how partnerships and other aspects of internationalization fit into your strategy. We don't see that we can be world-class without being truly international. So we refocused the international elements of our strategy in 2010 with an extensive consultation process with various stakeholders throughout the university and outside, talking to some of our academic partners and indeed corporate partners as well. Partnerships are actually central to our revised strategy. Crucially, the partnerships also help to underpin the other 3 international objectives in our strategy. They're about, respectively, the type of graduates we're trying to produce, the type of research that we're trying to carry out, and the nature of the scholarly community that we have at Aston Business School. So, above all, what we're trying to do through partnerships is to help achieve an international mindset amongst our staff and students and our partners with the more complex partnerships exactly in this mutual learning. And so what we're trying to achieve is a world business school that just happens to be based in the West Midlands in England.
We are a funding organization, we are a private organization, but we are mainly government funded. The German universities are driven by the wish to form long-lasting and sustainable partnerships which are very much based on cooperation and an exchange on eye level. We very much try to work with the German universities to create an internationalization strategy. And we always tell them that it has to be in the core interest of the leaders of any of the universities. If you look at the German example, we have been quite successful as a host nation because we have both a national policy to recruit international students as well as a national policy to send German students abroad. The German government gives a lot of money for sending students abroad, and this is another very important ingredient in this whole recipe. You need money, definitely. Next ingredient that I think is vital is that apart from the individual student going abroad and maybe having a scholarship, the structural programs, as we call them, have become much more important. Internationally oriented employers rate the international experience much higher than the time spent for education. They even put it to the universities to include more possibilities and time for international experience for the students and also more practical experience.
Just a snapshot about Erasmus in the UK as the largest and principal student mobility program. I'm conscious it's mostly undergraduate. In terms of subject, it's not surprising that languages is the top subject, but after that it is business studies. A lot of getting students involved requires the academic tutors to be keen. There's been a lot of discussion within the European Commission, within all the national agencies, so our colleagues in DAD and ourselves have been involved in this, and within national ministers of education about what should the new generation of Erasmus look like. What's certainly going to continue is mobility. What we think is going to come out is more funding available for partnership, for cooperation, possibly not just restricting it to Europe, and also maybe enabling universities to work in a more structured, comprehensive, long-term type of partnership through multi-country cluster partnerships that can include staff mobility, student mobility, cooperation, joint course development, a sort of much more integrated whole collaboration. So I think that all of that, if that comes through, I think will be really, really, really interesting and offer many more opportunities for what we all believe is a good thing.
Our institution in Berlin, we offer the full range of business degrees, undergraduate and graduate. All of our exchange programs are truly reciprocal types, mutual true exchanges, I should say. We believe that the incoming students are just as important as the outgoing students because the incoming students add to the internationalization at home. Of course, these study abroad programs are administratively very difficult. So my personal preference is to have structured programs or integrated programs with higher numbers of students and thus higher levels of efficiency. As universities, we are very eager to promote faculty exchange and faculty mobility as well, and we find that these structured and integrated programs are conducive to faculty interaction. And in designing curricula together, the people need to work together, and they will then also talk about research interests and hopefully go for international research projects. Then finally, this is my last point, we have a tool of internationalization that we find very useful. That is the study visit concept. And these study visit programs are always designed in conjunction with our partner universities abroad. So we're very interested in finding partners that have the undergrad and the grad offerings. That's very important to us because what we're looking for is deep relationships and deep faculty interaction with our foreign partner institutions.
The best practice example of successful partnerships. So we'll have 4 distinguished panelists, the idea being to be as practical as possible. I think after that, talking with the room, but trying to really know how did you put things in place, how did it work.
For us in HEC, it was very important to build the full sector of all management education, of all programs of a business school, and to perform as good as possible in all of them. We started with Erasmus programs, but very soon we thought that it would be better to strengthen our cooperations within networks, and we created in the early 70s a network linking European universities to American universities. The higher level of cooperation for us would be joint or double degrees. And the last step, which we would develop more now, is building alliances, which means that we put together all our efforts, be it on faculty, on research, on exchanging students, on building joint programs together with a partner in a strategic region for us. When you want to build an alliance, it only can come from the top of the management of a school, so it is always a decision from our director committee. You cannot create double degrees or alliances like this without any cooperation. You have to start to know each other, to cooperate on other levels, with simple exchange or with research work. In all, the end, I would say, of all cooperation is also to be present in the companies of the countries and to be present with our alumni network.
When we discuss about cross-cultural issues, it started from a strategic level, and it started from agreement preparation. We should see how the market is going on, how we can combine, for example, organize the models. Should we use simultaneous translation or not? What kind of cost is appropriate for the program? So, of course, we should take into account these cross-cultural issues when we design the program. When we sign an agreement, and all of us are fascinated to sign it quickly, so we should really pay attention what kind of grade system or, system of evaluation and transferring results from one system to another. Fee system. Today we discuss a lot about that, but with ESCP Europe we find a way. So we haven't been discriminated that we are not Europeans. French-Russian cooperation is one of the most efficient because our students can get the scholarship from the government. Our students who has participated in double degree programs, have a competitive advantage if they are looking for a job in big international companies and even big Russian companies.
In Germany, it's very important to know from which state you are coming, because according to our constitution, it's not so easy to do things on a national level. And only thanks to the DAAD, German Academic Exchange Service, we are able to have a platform to work together as universities, because my boss is normally the Minister of Science and Research in the Baden-Württemberg capital Stuttgart. So if we talk about international partnerships in business schools, we have to define this first. I have to explain you a little bit how we are acting as a state university in which, for example, in the future, there will be no more tuition. In a car, you have electronic systems, ABS, ESP, and all these systems have been developed, invented, and are produced in Reutlingen by the company Bosch. Not my sponsor today, but this shows you we don't have fear to talk directly to the companies. This is part of my presentation again, as well, because I want to introduce more or less what we do in the business school by telling you the overall approach we have in our university. We are very proud that last year we won the national contest in student exchanges on the German national level. We have the luck that we are surrounded by top companies in this very close vicinity.
I just want to show you really like a concrete case example of what we've established in Reutlingen at ESB Business School. It's a double degree program. It's a fully integrated 4-year Bachelor of Science. And this is already around for quite a long time. We've established that more than 30 years ago with a UK and a French university. What is important, you can earn 240 credits, which is also like important if you want to do PhD studies or master studies. And we have 2 mandatory internships. We have a partnership of business schools where we meet at least once every 6 months. Also, our companies with which we work with very closely, we have an association where they pay money into it, so they can recruit on campus. We have also a very, very active student community, and we have also a very strong alumni network just out of that study program. The lectures in these countries are in the local language. A German student pays the German fees, and a US student pays the US fees. The students in general are very heterogenic, but I think this is what our students learn. They learn how to deal with different languages, different cultures, different skill levels, and this is also coming back to the opportunities which makes this program so special and also, I think, so successful.
These corporations which have been discussed today are crucial for the future success of individuals if they want to be successful in business. If you only start working abroad, you don't really get the basics underneath what has actually influenced people in terms of their future behavior.
There are two features which are common to most people that we are recruiting. Actually three. The first one, they all have a university degree. Second, they all speak English, and they have to be absolutely fluent in English. The language of the organization is English, even though we operate in 60 countries. And third, they have to have international experience, because we see time and again that people who have not been traveling other than just for leisure have a real bad time to understand what it is to be working in an international network.
I'm simply saying that travel and experience and lots of international sandwich courses or lots of travelling around working for 6 months in factories in different parts of the world, important though it is clearly not enough.
Being able to think globally, to be able to adapt to different cultures and be able to operate there. And if people just study languages, that of course is not good enough.
Nothing is going to replace individual qualities. But the point to me is that assuming that one has the same quality, then the international experience and the language capability is making a difference in terms of finding a job. Now you have so many people well educated that you're getting a huge number of excellent CVs. And what is making the difference between one and the other? It is what is different. And what can be different? It is not the degree. It is not coming out of a top university in this or that country. It is the experiments that you can relate to outside of your degrees. And when you go through the interview process, what's fascinating is that 2/3 of an interview process in most cases is not on what you've learned, but on what you've done outside university. The competition for business schools and MBAs was between Europe and the US. The whole thing is being transformed. It is going to be with Asia.
What do you think is the most important thing people learn on a business school? Is it the content of the studies, or is it the network you get while being there and the labels? Just a signaling tool for making screening easier?
Clearly the network is one. Again, modern business is all about network. Before, as you mentioned about engineering, it was very vertical and quite often domestic driven. Now, global modern business is horizontal, cross-border, and therefore network driven. So you have to work with colleagues around the world.
If English is the lingua franca of the world, as I suppose it is, nothing to do with us, it's all to do with the Americans, so don't blame us. But if it is, then we don't mind people speaking English badly, so long as they get their point across.
Do I have someone in front of me who likes risk and who is at the same time a smart and ethical individual? If I have this, and on top of it, this individual speaks 2 languages, terrific. This is, risk-taking, today we have more graduates than jobs in most places. And the bar is continuously being elevated, which is very true now. An MBA is great, but it's not a guarantee of a job. However, if you don't have the MBA, it's even less of a guarantee of a job. So you have to take it in a negative way.
As a conclusion, to say why are partnerships important? And I would like to come back to what Nicola Dandridge from UUK said this morning, and she mentioned a report from CBI, which is a lobbying institution here in the UK, which said that over 2/3 of employers, 71%, are not satisfied with the foreign language skills of young people, and over half, that's 55%, perceive shortfalls in their international cultural awareness. So even in the UK, language skills are important, and I think it is our responsibility to help young people to be able to meet the job market's requirements, because in the end, what education institutions should provide is the skills and knowledge to be able to meet the job market requirements. And this is why it's a lot of work and it's a lot of effort from all of us to set up these international partnerships. But I hope that this conference will encourage more of you to set up international partnerships between other institutions. Thank you.